Hey parents, I am doing some last minute stuff for camp with our interns and even a student over here. So we're excited. So we got a couple of updates for you that we feel like are relevant. Number one is the camp is instituting a mandatory mask wearing in the worship space and then in the cafeteria, and we are going to comply with that rule and not gripe about it because we do. We want to help students have a great time at camp, and we also want to be safe. So what we're doing as a church is we're going to be providing masks for everybody. We've already got them ordered. They're cool. You can look it up. It's called a gaiter. It's something that a lot of people wear around their neck or their forehead. It's got phrases like "Wash your hands, you sinners," and "I love my church," and different things of that nature. So they're actually, I actually think that they're upgrade from a lot of the masks that you see worn, and they also are a lot more breathable, but they will do the job of keeping those people from spitting on each other or whatever else all that goes into wearing a mask. So that's going to be worn in the worship space and then in line in the cafeteria. The other things that are updated is we have our small groups online. So if you want to check out the Fuse Camp page on our app, you can see what small group your student is in and who their small group leader is. Our largest small group has 8 total people. That's 7 students, 1 adult. Those small groups will have a cabin to themselves. The cabins are made to fit 12 people comfortably. You can fit more than that, but it's made to fit 12 people comfortably. And so our largest group has 8. I think our smallest group has 5 or 6. And we have quite a few groups in that range. So they won't have to wear their mask in that dorm space. However, when they're at lunch, they have to sit with that small group, and when they're in the worship space too, they have to sit with that small group. So outside of that, students will be allowed to mingle. We will be having folks monitored that if we just have any way too close of contact, even outside, then we might say, hey, put that mask on or whatever the case may be. But outside, we're not very worried about it at this time, and we're not going to be Nazis about it. We just want to protect students as best as we can. So if you have any questions about it, give me a shout. There was one thing, and I just went completely blank. Oh, yes, our vans. So just because we want to remain consistent, I don't see any point in wearing a mask in the worship space, which is what we have to do because the camp is telling us we have to do. I don't see any point in us wearing a mask inside the worship space and in line at lunch if we're all going to ride up to camp without mask on in the van. So we're just going to, it's a short drive, 50 minutes. AC's working in all the buses, so we're gonna just have students wear masks in the buses going to the camp, just because I don't see any purpose in wearing them in the worship setting or at lunch if we're not going to do some mask wearing on the van. So we're just trying to be consistent there. Please, if you have not looked, you need to see our medical screening form that you will have to sign at check-in on Sunday, as well as our liability release. That medical screening form, we have to pass that. That's not something that we just can kind of blow off if you just aren't able to check boxes. Now, if you can't check a box, that doesn't mean that you can't go to camp. It just means that we have to have some more details about these things like that. The boxes that you didn't check, and we may have to consult with a medical professional to see if your student is capable of going. So if you have any doubt whatsoever that your student may not pass that medical screening exam or that medical screening form that is available on our app, call me now so that way your student doesn't pack all their luggage, get really excited, show up to church on Sunday, and then we have to send them home. We don't want to do that, but we will if we have to. So go ahead and look at that now so that way you don't have to worry about that later. Guys, the discipline stuff is the same as always. We are 50 minutes away from Jacksonville. It's a really short drive, so if there's any discipline problems that we see that are irreconcilable, at least at camp, then we will be requiring parents to come and pick up their students. But man, we're excited. We are. There's been a lot of prayer. There's been a lot of consultation that's gone into this. We've talked to people in the medical field. We've talked to people and leaders in our church. I've talked to tons of other youth ministers. And we feel like, obviously, guys, at the safe, if you want to absolutely protect your kid from COVID, then you need to put them in a room and never let them out of the room. That's just all there is to it. But we feel like if we're going to go to camp, that we have the best policies in place to try to protect students. And so we are excited. Our prayer has been that God would either close the door to camp and do that, on his own doing, where he just takes the decision away from our hands, or that if he doesn't do that, that he would keep us all safe. So I would ask that you join me in that prayer, that he'd either close the door for us and take that decision out of our hands, or that he would keep everybody safe. And he is more than capable of doing that. And so, anyways, if you have any questions about camp that are not answered on the app, by all means, let me know. Like I said, your student small group and their small group leader is available on the app. Our departure time, we want you at the church at 1 p.m. on Sunday, the 19th, this coming Sunday. And anyways, if you have any questions that aren't answered there, let me know. We got our packing list and everything else. We'll talk to you later, parents. Join us in prayer. We love y'all. We'll see you soon.